Welcome, dear listener, to Tales by GB. If you love stories filled with mystery, whispers from the spirit world, and the lingering touch of African juju, then settle in. Turn off the lights, let your mind wander, and don't forget to subscribe to hear the next chapter before it finds you. Now, let us begin. The beautiful woman was the daughter of the late Mrs. Chief Cladis. The family of Cladis had long been known as descendants of powerful priests. They were not just priests in title, but ones who truly carried the burden and blessing of spiritual heritage. In their village, generations before her had spoken to deities, controlled spirits, healed the sick, and warned kings of impending doom. But Rebecca, she didn't know any of that, because Rebecca never got to meet her parents, not even once. The story of her birth was soaked in both blood and silence. Her mother, Chief Mrs. Cladis, died during labor. She bled out in the hospital, clutching her swollen belly and groaning out prayers, but in the end, only one of the babies survived. Both were girls, but only Rebecca made it out alive. Her twin, Isaga, died minutes after entering the world. And her father, well, his story was not one of grief, but of guilt. Not long after losing his wife and one of his daughters, he became entangled with the king's daughter in a scandal that shook their community. Some said it was love. Others whispered it was lust, but whatever it was, it didn't end well. One morning, he was found lifeless near the sacred river, face down, his body already bloated and pale. Rebecca became an orphan, a baby with no mother to rock her to sleep and no father to whisper her name. She grew up in the homes of others, passed from one relative to another. Eventually, she ended up in the city. There, she became a housemaid, scrubbing tiled floors with her knuckles until they bled. Washing heaps of clothes with cold water that made her bones ache, she was quiet, gentle, always obedient. But something strange always followed her. Unexplained things. Sometimes she would fall asleep in the middle of house chores, right there beside a bucket of soapy water, or behind the couch while dusting. She'd sleep like a rock, so deep nothing could wake her. But when she opened her eyes, everything was done. The floor would sparkle. The clothes would be hanging outside, dry and folded. The curtains would be ironed and swaying with the breeze. It wasn't magic. Or maybe it was. But Rebecca never spoke of it. She kept her head down, saved every naira she earned. She learned how to braid hair from a neighbor who often invited her to assist when too many customers came by. And when she finally had enough, she did something bold. She opened a salon, a big one, right in the heart of the city. People laughed at her at first. Who would come to a salon with no mirrors? What kind of hairdresser didn't allow cameras or reflective surfaces? But soon, the laughter stopped. Rebecca became known as the fastest braider in the state. She could finish 40 heads in 5 hours. Her hands were lightning, her partings clean, her stitches flawless. Women traveled from other cities just to sit under her fingers. But there was one rule, a strict rule. No mirrors, no pictures, no cameras. If you asked her why, she'd only smile and say, "Some beauty is best unseen." But the truth, the real truth, it began many years ago. One Sunday morning, Rebecca had been dressing up for church. She wore a white blouse and a soft pink wrapper. Her hair was packed neatly into cornrows, and her Bible was resting near her bed. As she brushed her edges with a little brown toothbrush, she glanced into the mirror, and then everything stopped. Her hand froze in midair. Her chest tightened. Her reflection, it wasn't moving. Her own face, inside the mirror, stood still, unblinking, expressionless. But then it smiled. Rebecca's breath caught in her throat. Her fingers trembled. She moved. The reflection didn't. She frowned. The reflection grinned wider. And then a voice echoed, not from the mirror, but from inside her chest. My twin. It's been a long time. Rebecca's legs buckled. She sank to the bed slowly, still staring into the glass. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "What are you?" The reflection tilted its head, then spoke again. "I'm in you. You're half of me. Part of me still lives in you. I'm Harley. I died when Mama birthed us." Rebecca blinked. The name sounded like a bell in her ears. Harley. "I've been watching you, sister. Since you were small, since your first cry, since your first scar, I've been with you." And just like that, the fear melted. Somehow, Rebecca wasn't scared anymore. There was peace in the voice, a calm, familiar rhythm that soothed her. It wasn't demonic. It didn't feel evil. It felt like family. Harley explained everything. She had died at birth, but her spirit never left completely. She lived on inside Rebecca. She had been helping her all along, finishing her chores, guiding her dreams, calming her spirit. But there was a warning. Don't ever use mirrors outside of this room. Never let someone take your photo if you're standing near a reflective surface. If someone looks too close, they will see us both. They will see what they're not supposed to see. That day, Rebecca locked her mirror in a wooden trunk and kept it under her bed, and she never let it see daylight again. When she opened her salon, she followed Harley's warning like scripture. No mirrors, no selfies, no pictures during braiding, and most of all, no questions. She grew popular. Some said it was her speed. Others said it was juju, but no one dared test her. She smiled often, kept to herself, and always worked in silence. But in every room she entered, the air changed slightly, like something unseen had entered with her. She moved like a shadow, but her hands were magic. Until one day, a new customer entered her salon. Her name was Amanda, a young lady with sharp eyes and a curious spirit. She was the kind of woman who noticed too much. She always asked questions, always looked twice. And on that warm Tuesday morning, as Rebecca braided Amanda's hair, the young lady felt something strange. Something she couldn't explain. She swore. She felt more than two hands touching her scalp. Thumbs, too many thumbs, fingers more than one person could possibly have. Amanda said nothing, not yet. But something inside her whispered, "Find the truth." And so she began to plan, to watch, to test, to expose. And from that day forward, Rebecca's quiet life would never be the same again, because what Amanda was about to uncover was not just hair, not just talent type, not just mystery, but something ancient, and something that should have stayed buried, because in Rebecca's world, the mirror tells the truth, and the truth is never just one face. She paused her hands slowly, tying the last knot of Amanda's braids, just as Amanda's friends began slipping something shiny from their handbag, a mirror. It was small, round, shimmering like a silver coin, freshly pulled from a river, the kind of mirror you could tuck into a purse, a little hand mirror with a flowery plastic frame. Amanda didn't move. She kept her neck still, eyes forward, but her heart raced. Her friend Tara, seated just across the room, gave a subtle nod. Then, in one swift motion, she flicked open the mirror and tilted it so the reflection faced Rebecca. Silence. Time didn't stop, but it thickened. The air hung heavier. The breeze outside fell quiet. Even the hum of the old wall fan slowed, its blades turning like it was unsure whether to keep spinning. Tara stared into the mirror, then blinked, then looked again. Her lips parted slightly. Amanda, sensing something was wrong, tilted her eye downward just enough to catch the edge of the mirror's reflection. And what she saw froze her completely. Rebecca's reflection wasn't alone. Standing just behind her, though no one stood behind her in real life, was another woman. Same face, same lips, same body, but different eyes, eyes glowing faintly. Not white, not red, just not human. She was braiding Amanda's hair too. Two sets of hands, both moving, braiding, together. Amanda's stomach turned. She jerked her neck, leaping from the seat. "Stop!" she cried. "Stop everything!" Tara dropped the mirror and screamed. One of the other girls knocked over a stool while backing away. Rebecca didn't shout. She didn't run. She didn't even blink. She simply stood there, her hands still midair, her expression blank like a statue carved from grief and glass. Amanda pointed at her, her voice cracking. "I saw someone. There's another person. Behind you. In the mirror." Rebecca didn't answer. Another girl chimed in. "I saw it too. It looked like her, but her eyes. Those eyes." Rebecca slowly turned her head, not toward the girls, but toward the mirror, on the floor, and with the gentleness of someone picking up a baby bird, she knelt and crushed the mirror beneath her palm. The glass cracked with a sound like bone breaking. And then, silence again. Tara started to cry. Amanda was already backing toward the door. I knew something was wrong here," she whispered. "I knew it." Rebecca finally spoke. "You weren't supposed to see her." The words were calm, empty of anger, empty of sadness, but full of something else. Something ancient. Amanda didn't answer. She only grabbed her bag and ran. The others followed. The salon emptied in seconds, leaving only Rebecca and the broken mirror. She stared at the shards on the floor. Each piece reflected something different. A strand of her hair, a blink of her eye, the edge of Harley's grin. Then she whispered, almost too softly to hear, "I warned you, Harley." The door creaked shut behind her as she left the salon. That night, the whispers began. By morning, word had spread across the entire street. People said the famous Rebecca had a demon, that she worked with a ghost, that she was using juju to braid hair faster than a human could, that her hands weren't hers. Some said they had seen her shadow split into two while she was walking home. Others claimed her reflection waved when she didn't. Rebecca didn't respond to any of it. She closed the salon for the day, sat quietly in her small flat above the shop, and spoke into the mirror she kept under her bed. "You told me no one would see." She said the words like a prayer. From the mirror, Harley's voice drifted back. "I didn't lie. They weren't supposed to, but their curiosity tore the veil." Rebecca looked at her own face in the dim reflection. It was the same face, but not quite. "Now what?" she asked. Her voice broke on the last syllable. "Now we wait." And wait, they did. By the third day, the salon was silent. No customers came, no knocks, just murmurs from across the road, suspicious eyes, crossed arms. Then the police arrived. 4 officers, 2 men, 2 women, uniformed, stern. They stepped into the salon with authority, asked her to step out, said there had been a report that she was being accused of witchcraft, of using supernatural powers on clients without consent. Rebecca didn't resist. She wiped her hands on her apron, took off the pink scarf from her head, and followed them outside. The neighbors watched. Some whispered. Others crossed themselves. At the station, they questioned her for hours. Who was Harley? How long had she been practicing? Was she involved in spiritual manipulation? Was there a cult? Rebecca said nothing. Not a word. Her silence irritated the officers, but there was something in her eyes, something that told them they didn't want to push too far. That night, they locked her in a holding cell, a dim, lonely room with rusted bars and one flickering light bulb. And that was when she felt it. The air thickened. The shadows twisted, and Harley came, not through the wall, not through the bars, but from inside her. She stepped out, not as a ghost, but as flesh. For the first time since birth, Harley took form, solid, breathing, real. Rebecca stared. Harley smiled. "I told you," she said, brushing her twin's cheek with the back of her hand. "They would never understand us." Rebecca whispered, "What now?" Harley turned toward the bars, then back at her sister. "We leave." "But how?" Harley tilted her head. "Do you trust me?" Rebecca didn't need to answer. She had always trusted her. The light bulb shattered. The cell door creaked. The lock turned by itself. And the 2 sisters, one born of breath, one of spirit, walked out together. No one saw them leave. No one stopped them. By morning, the guards were confused. The cameras had gone black. The logs showed no visitors. But Rebecca was gone. A week later, a one-way flight left Lagos for Amsterdam. On board, a woman with short braids and dark sunglasses kept her head down. She wore a scarf and clutched a worn-out passport. The name was different, but the face was the same. She didn't look out the window. She didn't smile. She just sat silently, with a calm only the dead could understand. And beside her, in the reflection of the plane window, Harley smiled. They were starting over, in a land where nobody knew their names, where mirrors meant nothing, and where sisters could be whole. But back home, on that street, her salon remained locked. Dust gathered on the doormat, cobwebs hugged the corners of the doorframe. But sometimes, at night, passersby said they saw a flicker in the window, 2 shadows braiding hair, in perfect sync, in total silence, as if the salon still remembered. And so did the mirror, because it had seen everything. Months passed, seasons changed, new salons opened, and the city moved on like cities always do. But Rebecca's shop stood untouched. No one dared break in. No landlord came to reclaim the space. It was as if something warned them not to. Some said the place was cursed. Others said it was sacred. But no one could deny, every time someone walked past it at night, they walked a little faster. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the Netherlands, a small beauty salon opened on the 2nd floor of a tall building. Its sign read, "Braids by Becky." No mirror on the wall, no photos allowed. Just hair. Pure, perfect hair. The people came slowly at first. Dutch women, African immigrants, curious about this new lady who spoke softly and braided like a goddess. They didn't ask too many questions. They didn't need to. Becky's hands did the talking, but something had changed. Not just the country, not just the name. Something inside. Harley was stronger now. Not just a voice, not just a shadow. She was growing. Sometimes Becky would see her twin before she fell asleep, standing at the edge of the bed or seated at the dresser, brushing her hair, smiling, always smiling. And as Harley grew stronger, so did the connection between them. Becky could now feel her sister's moods like weather. Sadness came as a cold breeze down her spine, joy as warmth in her palms. But sometimes there was something else. An emptiness, a hunger. Harley was not evil, but she was not fully human either. She came from a place where spirits wandered freely, where twins who died could still linger beside the living, where souls did not rest because fate had other plans. And that plan was not yet complete. Becky knew it. Harley knew it. One night, Harley spoke clearly, her voice no longer soft and distant, but clear, right beside her ear. "They will come again." Becky turned slowly from her pillow. The room was dark. The heater clicked softly. "Who?" she whispered. Harley stepped forward from the shadows, not in flesh, not in full, but her outline shimmered, visible in the half-light. "The girl, the one who saw me, Amanda." Becky sat up slowly. Her chest felt tight. "She's back in Nigeria," she said. "I'm not." Harley's expression didn't change, but her tone deepened. She never let it go. She's searching. She wants to prove what she saw was real. Becky's stomach twisted, Renfry. Why would she come here? Harley's answer was cold. Because you ran. And Harley was right. Back in Lagos, Amanda had not forgotten. The moment she looked into that mirror, it burned into her memory like a scar on her soul. She had tried to convince herself it was an illusion, stress, imagination, but every time she closed her eyes, she saw them again. The two women, the twin hands, the smile that didn't belong in this world. Amanda had dreams, nightmares. In one, Rebecca's reflection climbed out of a mirror and stood beside her bed. In another, she was being braided by invisible hands while her real body was locked in place. She started seeing a therapist, started recording voice notes, started researching African spiritual beliefs. And then one day, she found something. A passage in an old Yoruba manuscript scanned into a university archive. It read, "The unborn twin is never lost. When born with gifts, she remains as shadow to the other. Do not tempt the mirror, for it opens the window to both." Amanda froze. She read it again, and finally, she booked a flight. 2 weeks later, Becky opened her salon door one morning and found Amanda standing outside. Same girl, same eyes, but bolder now. Amanda didn't smile. She just said, "I want braids." Becky didn't flinch, didn't slam the door, didn't run. She stepped aside and said, "Come in." And so it began again. Amanda sat. Becky braided. Silence thickened. No one else was in the shop, just the two of them. Becky's hands moved quickly, but Amanda watched every motion through her phone screen, pretending to scroll, but recording. After the third line of braids, she spoke. "Do you ever think about what happened?" Becky didn't answer. She parted another section. Amanda continued. "I know I saw someone else. I know I wasn't crazy." Still, no answer. Amanda reached into her pocket. Her voice lowered. "I brought something." The room seemed to grow colder. Amanda pulled out a mirror, the same one Tara had dropped months ago, now glued back together, jagged but whole. She held it in her lap, face up, angle tilted. And then she saw her, Harley, behind Becky, braiding too, same hands, same rhythm. Amanda gasped, but this time she didn't scream. She whispered, "I knew it." Becky froze. She turned her head slowly. "I warned you," she said. Her voice was low. Amanda looked up, eyes wide. What is she?" Harley stepped forward, visible only in the mirror. Her mouth didn't move, but her voice filled the room. "I am what was left behind. I am the other side of beauty. You wanted truth, now you see it." Amanda dropped the mirror. It cracked again. Glass scattered. But this time, she didn't run. She stood, shaking, and whispered, "Help me understand." Rebecca's eyes welled. Harley stared. For the first time in a long while, no one was afraid. Amanda listened. Rebecca explained that Harley revealed they talked until the sun dipped behind the buildings. 3 women, 2 bodies, 1 secret. By nightfall, Amanda left without a braid, but with something more. Understanding. She swore not to expose them, not to post the footage, not to tell the world, because some truths were sacred, but secrets don't stay buried forever. And Harley was changing. She no longer whispered. She no longer hid. She began appearing beside Rebecca in the mirror. Even when she was alone, she would talk for hours, ask questions, repeat names, dream of faces Rebecca didn't know. One evening, as Rebecca closed shop, Harley said something strange. "I want to feel." Rebecca paused. "What do you mean?" Harley touched the glass with both palms. "I want to taste, to cry, to live outside the mirror." Rebecca's throat tightened. "You already walk. You already braid." Harley shook her head. "Not fully. Not yet. I'm still bound." Rebecca turned slowly. "To what?" Harley whispered. "To you." And at that moment, Rebecca knew. The time was coming. The line between them was growing thinner, and soon there would not be two. There would be one. Rebecca hardly slept anymore. Even in the stillness of her tiny apartment in the Netherlands, Harley's presence filled every corner. She was no longer just a whisper behind the glass. She was in the walls, in the footsteps on the floorboards, in the breath that clouded the window pane before dawn. At first, Rebecca had welcomed her sister's company, but now something was shifting. Harley had started speaking of memories that weren't Rebecca's, dreams that weren't dreams. And then came the night when she said it outright. "Let me take your place." Rebecca sat at her table, braiding a training mannequin just to keep her hands moving. She didn't look up. "What did you say?" Harley stood behind the mirror, her face shimmering slightly in the reflection like a candle caught in wind. But her voice was steady, clear. "I want to be seen, to walk the world without hiding." "You've had your time, sister. Let me have mine." Rebecca dropped the braid. Her hands trembled. "You want my life?" Harley stepped closer to the glass. "It's not just yours. It was supposed to be mine, too." Rebecca's throat burned. "We're not children anymore. We don't play swaps. This isn't a game." Harley didn't flinch. Her eyes were heavy with something ancient. "You were born breathing. I was born watching. But I never left, and now I want more." Rebecca pushed away from the table and stood. "No." The room darkened slightly. A shadow fell over the mirror. Harley whispered, "Then you'll force me." That night, Rebecca ran. She packed nothing, not her scarf, not her tools, just her passport and her fear. She moved through cities like a ghost, Rotterdam, then Berlin, then Paris, trying to outrun the part of her that lived inside. But no matter where she slept, Harley followed. She appeared in train windows, in puddles on the street, in the eyes of strangers passing by. And then, one night in Paris, while hiding in a rented attic room above a bakery, Rebecca found herself staring into the small hotel mirror above the sink. She hadn't meant to look. She had avoided reflections for weeks. But this one caught her off guard. And Harley was already there, smiling, glowing, waiting. "You can't run from your own shadow," she said gently. Rebecca slumped to the floor. "I don't want to die," she whispered. "I didn't ask for this." Harley tilted her head. "Neither did I." Then her tone softened, almost like it used to sound, like when they braided hair together in silence. "It doesn't have to be painful. We're already one. We just need to finish the merging." Rebecca shook her head. "I'll disappear." Harley's reflection knelt beside her. "You'll become more than just flesh. You'll be eternal. We both will." Rebecca's body went cold. "Is that what this was always about?" Harley smiled. "No, it was about love. I just didn't know love could want so much." Days passed. Rebecca grew weak. Her skin paled, her voice shrank. Harley grew stronger, more visible, more solid. The world no longer saw one woman. They saw something they couldn't name. Rebecca's reflection began to move on its own, sometimes smiling when she didn't, sometimes staring while she blinked. And then came the final sign. The salon in Lagos reopened. Rebecca hadn't returned. She hadn't told anyone. But one morning, in the gray mist of dawn, a woman walking past said she saw the lights on inside, said she heard the sound of braids being snapped tight, said she saw two shadows moving, one real, one almost. By evening, curious onlookers gathered. The door was locked, the windows were misted, but the sound of braiding never stopped. Word spread. And Amanda returned. She flew back into Nigeria with a notebook full of dates, drawings, and research. She had followed every whisper, every sign, and when she arrived outside the salon, she knew Rebecca was there, or something was. She knocked, once, twice. The door creaked open by itself. Amanda stepped in. The air smelled like old oil and lavender. The room was dim, lit only by the orange glow of evening light. And in the center was Rebecca, seated, staring into the mirror. But there was something wrong. Her reflection was Harley. Harley looked up through the mirror. Amanda froze. "I knew you'd come," Harley said. Amanda swallowed hard. "Where is she?" Harley smiled. "She's here. She's part of me now." Amanda stepped closer. Rebecca blinked just once. Her lips parted. I didn't want this, she whispered, but Harley's reflection overlapped hers now. They moved as one, two souls fighting for space inside one skin. Amanda's hand shook as she opened her phone, not to take a photo, but to call someone. Someone she had found during her research, an old woman, a seer, a priestess from the eastern lands. Her name was Mama Nwaka. She didn't live near, but Amanda had sent her videos, had begged for help. And now the time had come. Amanda dialed. The voice answered. Place her in front of the glass, Mama Nwaka said. Then listen carefully. There is only one way to divide what has merged. Amanda turned toward Rebecca. She reached for her hand. Come, she said softly. Sit here, please, just for a moment. Rebecca obeyed, moving like a woman half asleep. Amanda guided her to a large wall mirror, cracked from the months of neglect, and then Mama Nwaka's voice began to chant. The words weren't in English. They weren't even fully human. They were old, from a tongue that came before time. Rebecca's body convulsed once. Then again. Harley screamed. Not through the mirror this time, but from Rebecca's own mouth. No! You said we'd be one. You said we'd be forever. Amanda held Rebecca's shoulders. Fight, Becky. Come back, Harley shrieked. A sound like glass breaking underwater. Her reflection warped, cracked, and then the mirror shattered. Light exploded across the room. Wind rushed through the broken panes. Rebecca collapsed. When the air settled, only one reflection remained. Rebecca, alone. She sobbed into Amanda's arms. The salon fell silent, and outside, the street returned to stillness. Amanda helped her up. Is it over? She asked gently. Rebecca looked toward the broken glass. Her lips trembled. I don't know. They closed the salon that night, boarded it, locked it. Rebecca didn't return to the Netherlands. She stayed with Amanda for weeks, healing slowly, smiling again, braiding again, but she never touched a mirror. And sometimes, in the quietest moments, her reflection would flicker, just for a breath, just enough to make her pause, because Harley was gone, but not forgotten. Somewhere in the cracks of glass, in the silver veins of old mirrors, a twin waited, still watching, still whispering. And Rebecca knew, no matter where she ran, no matter how long she lived, she would always be half of something whole.